Ginger.
Boy,
it's a good day in February.
It's a good day, but man, there's some hints of spring out there.
I'm so happy that I can actually walk outside and not freeze everything off.
Yeah. You know what Joe and I did this weekend? We smoked some tri-tip. Oh my God, it was so good.
Hope you saved me some.
I got them from Costco, not a plug. We smoked 2 of them, and we did save one. Denise, are you going to come see me?
I mean, you never know when I show up, Ginger. You know,
right.
I don't usually tell you. So,
Yeah, I know that's very
and
true.
I worked all weekend, so there you go.
Hey,
Had some lovely births.
60-hour weekend, Denise.
Well, it was a 60-hour week. I did 24 hours and then another 12, 8 hours. It was just a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why you're still sort of doing that, huh?
Hey.
Oh, just kidding.
Absolutely.
Just kidding. Okay. Are you ready for the new news?
Hit me, Ginger. You know, I haven't had a chance to take a look at what you post, so this is probably definitely going to be new.
So, you know, there's going to be a little bit of a lead in to our guest that I'm going to introduce here in a minute. But this was reported on February 10th, just less than a week ago, from a group called OBHG.
I know him.
You know him. Yeah, we know him. We've met Amanda, who's their vice president of midwives, and we've had some meetings with them, but they put out their 2025 maternal health impact report. And man, they're giving the numbers. Yes. You know how much we believe in numbers.
We love data.
Yeah, we love data. So between August 24 and July of 25, they generated, are you ready? $812 million in measurable maternal and infant health impact. Now, that's not profit. Why I love this report is because they're actually talking about how the care they provided saved money, right? In lives, in hospital costs, and they even go down farther, talking about delivering $1.46 in societal and medical value for every dollar of revenue they invested. They've got somebody doing the numbers, man. It's impressive.
That is good. I think I saw a video. They had a webinar very recently, and they had a little video that reported some of those.
Yeah.
They had a fantastic webinar in maternal sepsis, which I learned from.
Oh, cool.
It was very good. But yes, good data. Good.
It is.
They're doing good work.
It is. This report is fascinating to read. We will put the link on our Buzzsprout website. But the other thing I really want to highlight, Denise, because, you know, we've been talking about these issues since we started and why they're so important and how midwives impact. But they have 3 pillars that drive their work: quality, access, and equity.
Absolutely. All very critical.
And one of the measures, I'm just going to highlight one, is on cesarean birth, comparing cesarean birth rates with African American moms and Caucasian. And the data is astounding at the reduction in primary cesarean with Black women.
And this is reflecting the work that they're doing?
Yes, absolutely. In all of their settings.
Shout it out loud.
Yeah. So I think later we're going to invite some of the people from OBHG to meet with us. But you know what? We got to jump on that because somebody's coming right now. And I'd like to introduce someone who's really impacted my life and certainly impacted midwifery, and that's Jualeah Early. Welcome, Jualeah.
Hello, Jualeah.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
We are so excited to have you here, Jualeah, for several reasons. One, the caring nature you bring to our profession, but also we are really elevating Black History Month and the role of Black midwives in America. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Ginger. I am super excited.
Well, you know what we like to do is have our listeners learn a little bit about whoever's with us. And one of the questions we typically ask is if you would share your journey to midwifery.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm also going to add that with OBHG, I work for OBHG,
Yep.
and I'm proud to work for OBHG. And to add for us midwives and anybody in healthcare, one of the things that uh, they want us to have is a work-life balance.
Great.
And in this, it's really important because I've had
Yes, it
some
is.
jobs that I worked so much that I didn't have my family there to enjoy.
We're
And
going
Yeah.
to
I
talk
found,
about that a little bit, Jualeah.
yeah, absolutely. So we'll pause on that part. um, but I'm Jualeah Early, and I became a midwife in 2008. And I don't know how in depth I want to go, but I was telling Ginger and Denise that I started because um of what I watched it and I feel like God just touched me, and I remember saying, I want to be a midwife.
Yeah.
And there were some years that because I started in 1991 of as being an LPN and then a nurse, I mean, yeah, an LPN then an RN. And I went back and got my bachelor's and my master's. And I'm so excited. I met Ginger Breedlove as the president of the ACNM. And when you're new out there and you sit down and have lunch with the president as a student, I felt like,
Jualeah, we did
oh,
that?
yes, we did.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, it was like, it was at the level of the Obamas for
No,
me.
no, 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 no.
Ginger, I watched you and I was like, she's amazing. And you were so elegant, but you were passionate and you were so strong. And I'm like, I want to be her. I don't want to be the
Well, Leah,
president.
you're right. She does inspire a lot of people. She's
Hey,
humble, but you are very right.
you know what I love to say. Look, it's not about me, it's about us, right?
Exactly. And
It's
you
not about
said
me.
that. But you helped
Uh,
me. I'm not a midwife. Well, I am a midwife and I was working on it, but it's not easy for everyone.
yes.
The
Yes.
test and the studying and
Yes.
I can say I'm confident with my hands-on skills,
Yep.
but when I'm doing the reading and the learning, I have to put it all together.
Yes.
So I struggle, but I mean I always passed all my boards, but when
Yeah.
you have to put it all together.
Yeah.
And there were words of inspiration that I got from you that gave me the confidence to know that I could
Wow.
do it.
Thank you, Alia. That's sweet.
Yeah. That there are so many, you highlighted some of the challenges.
Yeah.
I think it's not easy to become a midwife. It's not easy to remain a midwife. It's a hard profession, but certainly
Mhm.
the calling was there for you as it is for many of
Mhm.
us. Any other
Amen.
challenges that you can think of?
The biggest challenge is support, I think. And I learned that a really hard way because I always surround myself with really strong people.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I just had my 60th birthday. That's why my
Yes.
voice is not here right now a little bit. We started on Wednesday.
Oh, gee.
The last people left yesterday. I mean, today, this morning.
Yeah.
It was 22 of us in my,
Wow.
we took over.
Yeah.
Three of us were midwives.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh. That's
that's energy
fantastic.
right there.
Yeah, me and
Yeah.
Disa and Beth, I worked with them at the birth
Oh, they were
center.
both there.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yes.
cool.
It
That's
was
cool.
really cool. And this is another one. The guy, we went to Wynwood Walls. We did the tour. The guy that took us on the tour, at the end of the tour, you get to graffiti your own wall. And of
Ah.
course, my graffiti said midwife wall. And he goes, you're a midwife? He was like, my mom was a midwife for 65 years.
Oh
She
my
recently
gosh.
passed away. So he made sure that we took pictures together. And I could tell he was touched by the fact that
Wow.
he met a midwife
Yeah.
Yes,
like his
yes.
So
mom.
while Leah,
Yes.
I'm gonna just guess here, but correct me. Would she have been a granny midwife?
You know what? No, I don't think she would have been a granny midwife because Was Kitty Ernst a granny midwife?
No,
Was it right? Yeah. So
no,
no, she was a midwife, a nurse
a
midwife.
certified nurse midwife.
Yes, yes.
So, as we are kind of on the edge of this, but I would love for you to share sort of your thoughts about the history of Black midwifery and
Yeah.
sort of how we eradicated. I mean, I went to midwifery school in Charleston, South Carolina, where
Hmm.
grand midwives were, down on the island,
Yeah.
and we eradicated, especially
Hmm.
Southern Black
Hmm.
midwives.
Yes. Yes. So I will, and as we talk, you remember things. My brother, my parents are from Alabama,
Okay,
Union Springs, Alabama, which is really small.
yeah,
My brother was born in the house that my mom lived in
yeah,
by a midwife. The
wow,
and I could remember that story, but now that you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a granny midwife. She was not a nurse. She came from the hill. That's what
yeah,
they called it, the hill,
yeah,
and came in and she delivered my brother. I,
wow.
Wow.
Did you ever
Wow.
talk to your mom about that?
it was we just skimmed over it, but now that when I get off this phone, we're gonna have more conversation about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's so great.
So it's awesome to read and hear about
yeah,
all the midwives and where we started from, especially the Black heritage, because
yes,
nothing is easy. You have to work hard. You work hard as a midwife. You know who you are as a person, but
yeah,
then you have to fight in a way, and I don't mean fight like fist fight, but it is somewhat of a challenge when
hmm,
someone looks at you and you think you're doing the best you can. And when
yeah,
I say this, to be called to say that it's a way they say you're intimidating
yeah,
and you're not
yeah,
even saying a word.
yeah,
That it's
Right.
kind of heartbreaking. So
Yeah.
I always try to pass it on to the newer midwives.
yeah,
Everybody's not going to smile, and just because if I'm not smiling, that doesn't mean that I'm angry.
Right.
right.
I think
It
that's a very important message we need to hear.
it is because your coworkers, there's some fear that comes from. I mean, today is a good way to explain it because we're being called angry Black women,
Yes,
and we're not angry.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
just we have a lot going on, and some
Yes.
days you may not feel like smiling, but that doesn't take away from the person you are inside. That's
Correct.
that's everyone actually.
yes,
Um, I don't, and when you say you don't see color, you do see color. There's all colors. You have a color. I have a
yeah,
color. And it's not about the color of your skin. It's the depth of who you are, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
Yes, yes,
it
yes,
You know,
yes.
is.
you brought up students, which I definitely would love your thoughts about, and for our listeners, I've had a few of our clients seek out Jualeah's mentoring, and Jualeah, thank you for doing that. I mean, you
Um,
could easily say no, but
I love it.
when you listen to students and talk to new midwives trying to find their way through,
Mhm.
what are some of their challenges and what do you tell them?
Right. So there's always that challenge for all midwives. There's that challenge of what do I do? What I remember the fear when I first became a midwife and it was time for me to work in an office. You have a contract. Usually you have a contract that you
Yeah,
have to sign. You're not going to understand that contract. What does that mean when they say if you quit here, whatever the contract says, and then you can't get a job in
yeah,
the 30-mile
yes,
radius of where
yeah,
you live.
Non-compete.
Yeah, the non-compete. That you don't understand that, but you're so excited to get a job,
Right.
right?
Yes.
yeah,
And
Yes.
then you just will sign anything.
Hmm.
yeah,
Unless you have attorneys in your family or
yeah,
another midwife has told you. So just, I'm grateful when you started doing what you started doing, mentoring the midwives and they can call you and ask questions. That was important. That was a big deal. That is a big deal. And then when you have them call me just for the Oh yeah, I get down to the nitty gritty of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't. The
Yeah.
best time for your contract and your non-compete is to the day one before you sign that contract. Know
Yeah.
your worth. And you, as
Yeah.
a midwife, you don't know what your worth is,
No.
right? You're like,
No.
I'm new and I want a job.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You really
All the
don't know
time.
how hard you're going to work. You don't know.
Mm.
And they can tell you. When I moved to Florida, first let's go back to North Carolina. No, I'm gonna pause that. I'm gonna pause that.
Hey, did you work in South Carolina with Leslie Rathbun, or did you know
I
each
did,
other?
well, yes, we didn't work together. I went to South Carolina. Go back. My husband he was a college basketball coach.
Yeah.
So I've moved all
Ah.
over the place. So it's not
Yes.
that I'm jumping jobs.
Right. Right.
That's always the
Right.
question. You were only there for a year. It could be
Yeah.
scary as your
Right.
resume grows. You were only there for 5 years. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Right.
I
Right.
was married.
Good
Right.
I'm
point.
married to a basketball coach. So
Yeah.
You
that's
didn't
why. But
want to
yeah,
leave, but you followed your partner.
So
yes.
maybe instead of necessarily naming locations where we work, you could maybe talk about the lessons you learned because you've worked in diverse settings.
Yes, yes, I have. I have. Started out as a labor and delivery nurse in Ohio, but I've worked in Ohio. I became a midwife in Louisiana.
Oh
And
my
not to
gosh.
me,
Ah.
Louisiana it's an independent practice, but the midwives are southern Louisiana. They're not in the north.
Yeah.
So it's not an equal, like
Yeah.
half of Louisiana don't believe in midwives. The physicians, they
Ah.
fight. I was living in North Louisiana. I trained in Louisiana, but I had to drive 5 hours to
Oh my
do,
gosh.
and then I had to beg the midwife. I had to beg her to let me come there because they had like some bad experiences.
Yeah.
Like, I promise I will be the best midwife student you've ever had.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge, and I ended up
Yes.
getting a job in South Louisiana, Natchitoches, Louisiana,
Yeah.
with a one physician. So
Okay.
I drove back and forth 3 hours. Those are some stories to tell.
Oh my goodness. So you've been in a private practice with one physician.
Yeah. Yes.
What
Yes.
was that like?
It was actually, she was amazing to me. This physician, she probably could have been a midwife. So that was a blessing. But she had a Mary Kay set up in the back. I would
Oh my
always tease.
gosh.
Yeah, she
Oh,
would. She sold Mary Kay in the back. She drove a pink car.
side hustles.
Yes.
Wow.
So she taught me a lot. She trusted me
Yeah.
as a new midwife.
Yeah.
And that's important. You
It
it you
is.
you can't do that. And it was so funny because I would go in a room and you're a new midwife. So what are you doing? You're reading in your mind from the book. I would go in the room and I would go over everything with the patient. I'm not looking at the book. I have it. I got it. And then I would go out and the nurse would come out and say, "Hey, can you go back in and talk to?" This is what she's saying to the doctor. Can you go back and talk to her because she's crying? So I go back in and with the doctor, and the doctor goes, "Oh yeah, this," and then she comes out. She's like, "Well, Leah, you giving them too much information."
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So you scare people, right? And all the new midwives, I was like, "Listen, don't give them too much information."
Well,
You're
that must have
giving-
left you an impression.
yeah, it did.
What did you think about that?
I learned from it. Like, okay, I was like, what do you mean don't give them too much information? They don't want to know. They don't want you to read from the book. They want you to tell
Ah,
them what's going on with them.
I see. You
mm,
were
Tell them.
literally reading from the book.
No, well, no, in my mind, like I was
right.
I
You
know what
remembering
wanted
you're
to
saying.
you wanted to
all
do all the checklist.
exactly,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. So they
They
felt overwhelmed.
they were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that
A
could just
lot.
be with bacterial vaginosis.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I gave it all to him and she didn't understand, which has always been important to me. And that's funny that in that moment I didn't think like that. I didn't think
Right.
Hmm.
about I was,
Right.
being professional and giving her all the information, all my knowledge, and it was too much.
Well,
Yeah.
let's transfer that over to the maternal health crisis
Mm,
and the increased risk of morbidity and mortality for
mm,
Black
mhm,
Black moms. How
mhm.
do you advise that we all not cross over that threshold of
Right,
fear.
right. Listen. We have to listen.
Listen.
And you
Mm,
always in your community, and we 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 it's not for Black women. I want midwives. I want everyone to think about this. Black women don't complain.
Good
And
point.
that I think that is the part. And even
Yeah.
if you do complain, it's not wham. We're
Yeah.
not like it's like, well, I have a headache. Did you take a Tylenol? Yeah, but you just keep it moving. You know what I mean? Or I had a
Yeah.
headache. I took a Tylenol. It didn't go away, so I just laid down a little bit. What we do is different than how we treat our families and our friends. So if there's something going on with my parents and my mother-in-law live with me now.
Yeah.
I take care of them. They can't like if they have a little complaint, then I'm gonna make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
But I can have the same complaint and
Yeah.
I just keep it moving.
So,
It's
well, Leah, how do you go beyond listening to opening the conversation
hmm
to share more?
hmm
Yeah.
so the what I do is I always tell my mom, I'm like, listen, I and I can say I'm a Black woman. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know what's happening. So I need you to not just speak up, but say your concerns. Like
Yeah.
because you have a concern in there, and even if you just skim over it as the midwife or the provider, listen, but also ask more questions. So you have to
Hmm.
listen a little bit deeper. And if I can
Hmm.
give you an example, the other day I had a patient and she was still concerned. And I went over everything and I said, all your labs are good.
Hmm.
And I went over everything. And then I said, I'm gonna discharge you. The nurse is getting ready for discharge, and the dad goes, well, she's still worried about this. So I
Uh-huh.
go back
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter that all the labs are normal.
Right.
right,
I want her to know that if what's happening, what's worse, and what are you worried about. You have to go a little bit deeper. So okay, let's talk about this. So when is this work? We do that anyways, but I was actively listening
Yeah.
so
right,
that I can get to that fear, because it may not look like
Yeah.
fear. I thought we were fine when I went over on my discharge
right.
instructions, but she wasn't fine. So we have to make sure it's not like, do you have any questions? We get busy.
Right.
And for me, I'm nervous because
Right.
we do have a higher morbidity rate.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. I don't
Yeah.
Is it that no one is actively listening, or is it as the patient, we're not verbally saying? I
Yeah.
think that it's maybe a combination
Yeah.
of both.
I'm
So,
hearing I'm hearing just this theme from your Louisiana experience of I checked everything off the checklist.
mhm,
And the pause that we all might need to then dig deeper is, I think, really a very important point, to pause, to ask, and then to listen to what they're saying. And we are all like busy, 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 and we think we're doing all the right things, but the delivery of information is just not the same as the
mhm,
reception of information,
mhm,
and we all need more information. I think
exactly.
that's
And there's one thing, if you notice, we don't trust as easily. So
Hmm.
Denise, if that's one of the things I love about OBHG, and may be harder because you meet us in the hospital.
Yeah.
You already
yeah,
don't know.
You're there. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't trust me because you
You
don't
don't
know
know
me.
me.
We don't
Right.
You have to have a really quick relationship. I have to build
Yes.
up that trust really fast. And if honestly, if I'm a Black woman sitting in a chair looking at a white person,
Yeah.
I might not feel like they hear me or they
hmm
don't care. So you
hmm
really have to understand that, okay, how can I do this so that she can trust me fast?
Yeah.
I have to build a
Yeah.
relationship because
hmm
Black women aren't going to look at you the same. Even a Black woman to a Black woman, they where
Mhm.
you're gonna get that side eye, like, and if they weren't heard the first time, then they kind of just shut up. And when I say they,
Yeah.
I mean us,
Yeah.
me,
Mhm.
we.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
they don't care.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that they don't care. So you, as a midwife, as a provider, you have to really show that you care. And you don't have to dig deep to care. You just have to get at a level.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
And
is not looking at your electronic health record and checking the check
mhm,
boxes.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
sitting down eye to eye in
Sitting
my
down.
experience and saying,
mhm,
tell me how I can help you today.
mhm,
And
mhm.
just don't even ask the questions on the chart. Just listen to the
Exactly.
story, you know?
Exactly. When did this start? Because it could be PTSD from a
That's right.
previous pregnancy.
That's right.
Yeah, and I recently had an experience where I had a black mom, and I could tell that there was just it was she wasn't wanting to tell us, what she
Mhm.
was really feeling. So I'm like, all right, just sit down and ask her. Like just ask her, like, what are we not telling you? What do we need to hear from you?
That's a
Um,
good question.
Yeah.
and she started crying. I'm like,
Oh,
and I said, I'm sorry, I don't need to make you cry. But she's like, but nobody ever asked me that.
right.
Nobody asked me what I needed to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very humbling, and I was very appreciative.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was able to hear, recommendations. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important to also invite people to, and disagree if you think so, but invite their family to weigh in,
Absolutely.
because it really is their family too. And so I think including families that are surrounding them is really important, because they trust their family members.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I go in saying, I know you don't trust me and you don't have a reason to,
Yeah.
but we
So
need to
thank you for
figure
Ah,
it out.
reminding me about that.
yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, I might be a little bit tearful right now.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
I think
you.
Jualeah said something else that I really that resonated with me, right? As a midwife, we all think we listen to women, that's a tagline. But you're talking about a different kind of listening here
Mm-hmm.
that I think is an intentional skill and purpose. Uh, and I'm really moved by how you describe that,
Mm-hmm.
because I think, look, I'm not providing healthcare anymore. You two are. But I hear the stories of how crazy busy it is and how you navigate your workday with every single person you come in contact with has to just be exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
um, physically, but also, Denise got a little tearful there. It's the
Mm-hmm.
emotional impact of helping
Mm-hmm.
people takes a lot of energy.
It really does. Well, not, you know what, it's a good energy because if you're a midwife, yeah, I always say it's the best job. I mean, what is it? Confucius says, find a job you love and you never work a day in your life. I haven't
Yeah.
worked
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
And that's because I love what I do. And
Yeah.
you have to, if you're just doing this just for money, first
Yeah.
of all, you're crazy. And then say, I like I think my calling, part of my calling is to empower women,
Yeah.
not just women, but when you say women, all women,
Yeah.
but you have to empower them in a different way. So, but my sisters, I know that,
Yeah.
we go through things. Even if you think you have a good life, you still gone through something.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that and you have to learn from it. And I am going to say that I noticed more of my white sisters, because everyone is my sister,
Yeah.
asking more questions, having more concerns, and
Yeah.
seeing this environment and understanding now that, okay,
Yeah.
I'm different to you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
do look at you different, not because I'm being racist, but I'm looking at you different because I don't understand. I don't
Right.
understand the things that you've gone through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can open up and have that conversation, I think think that's where we're lost at. You
Yeah.
know, we need to, I want people to feel comfortable, any race, to come and
Yeah.
ask me a question, even if it's a hard question.
Yeah.
That's where we're getting lost, because if you assume and you're looking at and trying to come up with your own answer,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to get the right
Yeah.
answer.
You know, you're touching on a topic I have down that I hoped we'd have time to get to, and that's racism in healthcare, but
Hmm.
certainly racism in maternal
Hmm.
health care.
Hmm.
And so, you know, lots of literature, lots of workshops, lots of mandatory training for healthcare
Yeah.
providers. Let's just get down to the day-to-day work environment, right?
Let's do it.
If
Let's do it.
someone sees or is part of a conversation where that kind of racist words and actions are
Hmm.
unfolding,
Hmm.
like, what's your advice on how to call it out in the moment instead of internalizing it or
Hmm.
walking away from
Hmm.
it?
I think you call it out. There's
And
there is no political, there's no politically correct way.
yeah,
Everybody's trying to do that. When I say there's a way to say something, if I'm doing something or if you're doing something, I'm like,
yeah.
hey. And I have a really good, I have to remember how this story goes, because the nurse probably didn't mean what she said, but the baby came out and she was like, oh, look at that cute little monkey.
Oh my.
I literally had the baby in my arm,
Oh
in my
my.
hands, and I said, what did you just say? I said, no. I said, and this is what I said. We're all in the room. And it
Uh-huh.
was, I don't remember what happened, but I remember looking at her and I said, you don't call a black baby monkey. I don't know. I had never had that experience,
Yeah.
but it needed to be stopped.
Yes.
And
Hmm. She,
the entire room, some of the nurses walked out because it was like,
Yeah.
I didn't say it mean.
she
I
needed
Yeah.
to
just,
hear it.
and I believe
She,
that it was her innocent. I don't think she was saying monkey. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I don't care how she put it. She couldn't explain it away,
Yeah.
because that's a black mom, a black
Yes.
midwife,
Yes.
black family in the room, and what she says was, "Oh, look at that little monkey." It.
Mm.
Oh. Oh my gosh. So the takeaway here is it doesn't matter what color your skin is.
It doesn't.
Being honest in the moment is
Mhm.
critical to this
Mhm.
change
Mhm.
continuing to happen in healthcare.
Ask, absolutely, absolutely, Ginger. And ask the question. If it's something happens,
Yeah.
ask the question. I don't understand.
Yeah.
You may not understand, but if you don't
Yeah.
ask the question, then you won't ever
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
And I think the questions have to come, we have to do all of our own work. We have to ask ourselves the
Yeah.
question, like, how can I do this better? How
Hmm.
can I, it's not anybody else's job to teach us, but it's
Yeah.
really our job to continue to ask how we can be there and hear and do things better every single occurrence, every interaction.
Hmm.
Well, and as Charles Johnson says, one of my dear friends who lost his wife Kira, who's just got an award for one of the most influential people in DC,
Mm.
advocating for Black maternal health,
I remember.
holding people accountable
Hmm.
is his hashtag. And
Hmm.
I think people are afraid to do that.
Hmm.
Maybe they don't know how. Maybe their personality doesn't quite promote that, but we've got
Hmm.
to stand up and
Yes,
hold people accountable.
exactly. And if you feel it in your heart, if you
Yeah.
feel that that was wrong in your heart,
Yeah.
you should say something,
Yeah.
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 because otherwise it just stays inside and nobody learned from it.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You know, it's a topic that's critically important and we
Mhm.
need to keep those conversations at the top. And and also maybe tie in a little bit. Well, Leah, I knew you as a leader when we were both midwives. After that lunch we had, you were a remarkable leader of a practice. And what
Mm.
lessons did you learn from that leadership role?
Well, and I never knew I was a leader until people kept saying, "You're a leader." I guess I just popped out stronger. And So I had to learn. There were things about being a leader because all I wanted to do was, give people pearls of wisdom,
Yeah.
learn myself, but people were tagging onto that. So,
Yeah.
the part where you had to be politically correct, I wasn't good at that, but I was strong. What I did know was that I could listen to the people above and listen to the people, and I don't want to say below,
Right.
but the people who were under
You
me
worked with.
and put it together in a
Yeah.
way that everybody understood.
Yeah.
And I did, I really worked hard at doing that. Um, because I was learning. Then
Yeah.
remember in that practice, I was like the oldest midwife, not just in
Yep.
age, but in practice.
Yep.
Mm.
So I had young midwives coming
Yep.
out, and I had to help them become strong, independent practitioners,
Yes.
midwives, without taking away from who they were personally, but making them strong hands on.
So
So
how did you do that? Give our listeners some ideas on how you mentored those new grads in a setting that was, not hospital based.
right, right. And I came from hospital based,
That's
and
right.
I did. I came from hospital based. I worked in this birth center. So you can take what you learned from from being in a hospital, because when I was in a hospital, I did learn after going to the birth center that I was a midwife. People get
Mm.
offended by being a midwife. I was.
Oh, my favorite
I
topic.
yeah. But I learned how to be a real midwife in a
Thank
birth
you.
center. I
Yeah.
did. And
Yeah.
and I brought that back
Yep.
as the OBHG,
Yep.
right? So what kind of things did I do?
Yeah.
It's
How did you
funny,
bring that back?
as it
How do we how do we
I
bring it back?
to the into the hospital, you
Anywhere.
just people call me, they're like, oh, Jualeah's different. When you go, she's not. And then but our doctors, most of our doctors were willing to just trust me. And so
Hmm.
it's not, you don't, if you get somebody in at day one and you're inducing them at 37 weeks because they have ICP, then you have to understand that that's some patience with that.
Yeah.
And you have to be patient, and it's not about the monitors. And you have that woman with the Cervidil in for 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours. But the protocol is once you get in there, you get an IV and you don't eat. What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. We're gonna have her go through a marathon with no food.
Yeah.
Right,
Poor muscle
right.
that's supposed to work without nourishing it.
Exactly. So now I see that. So I I do know that those are the protocols, but I also know that I can write my own orders and explain and
Mhm.
help them understand.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, she can eat. Let her get up and take a shower. Feel good. Let her move
Yeah.
around. Don't
Oh,
just lay in the
yes.
bed. Don't just lay in the bed. If you're gonna have the baby
Yeah.
naturally,
Yeah.
then get up, move around,
Yeah.
drink, eat, do what you need to do. So it's different. Uh, Ginger, you have to hear that I went in a room and the patient was on the toilet.
Yeah.
And the nurse was like, "Oh my God, we have to get her in the bed." I'm like, "No, she's good.
Oh my gosh.
I can catch on a toilet."
Yeah.
So the stories go around like I'm some kind of amazing person.
Ah.
And then she was on the toilet, and while Leah delivered the baby and gave it to the mom, and then they walked over to the
Oh
bed.
my gosh.
I always say we were socialized to push on a toilet,
Mhm.
Oh
right?
my gosh, that's so good to hear because
Yeah.
I hear your passion and your joy in the
Yeah.
job you're in now.
Yeah, I love it.
That's
Yeah.
so
9
great.
shifts. I work 9 shifts a block. That's it.
And look how happy you are.
I'm so happy. It's 24
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Then you're done.
we are gonna go to Walia, the segment that we ask for a call to action. We ask
Mhm.
our guests and we'll give each of our own viewpoints on this, but you've shared just some really fantastic information today.
I
And
was all over the
again,
place. I apologize.
no, we love everything you shared. If you could leave
We
the
love all those
listeners
parts, Jualeah.
all the parts, especially your smile. If you could share one call to action that you really hope our listeners will take away, maybe do,
Mhm.
what would it be?
Yeah. So I really challenge new midwives and all midwives because it's still I'll get phone calls from people. Know your worth.
Yeah,
Know what to it. You're gonna expect if you're working call office. That's a lot of work.
yeah,
You ask for what you want because you may not get a raise soon. So new midwives or any midwife changing practices,
yeah.
ask for what you want and don't be afraid. Don't
I
be
love it.
afraid. And also listen. Listen and respect your patient because it's about them. It's not about you and it's not about
Yeah,
what you learned. It's about that person and we are all individuals.
yeah. Thank you so much, Walia.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. And I don't know if they see my shirt. I got this for my birthday.
Yeah, if they're on YouTube, they see it. Denise, what's your call to action,
Well,
Denise?
first of all, we're going to hang again, Jualeah. I feel like it.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, my call to action is really like we all need to keep doing our own work. I hear the message of being accountable, holding other people accountable, but we have to hold ourselves accountable first. So hold ourselves accountable for what we're doing, how we're acting, how we're listening. And honestly, I think I got from you again the message of ask the hard questions. And so learning how to ask the hard questions in a very respectful, non-judgmental, like really compassionate, caring way.
Thank you,
That's it.
Denise. You know what I'm going to take away from this and you coming on with us, Walia. Walia happens to be the first midwife guest we've invited to our podcast. We're very grateful for you to come. And I think for me, asking our listeners to learn more about the history of Black midwifery and the journey of surviving, of navigating very, very difficult situations, not only 400 years ago, but through the extinction of the grand midwives in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and even today, as we hear from Black midwifery students and emerging new Black midwives who I've referred to you, the road is still hard.
Mhm.
And for us as white people or any people to assume that it's not is a mistake. And having honest and open conversations to figure out what if anything we can do to help is critically important. And you've touched on that just a little bit. One of the things that we've done, Lilia, now we're in our 6th year of Grow Midwives awarding 2 BIPOC scholarships in Black History Month. So we have 2 $1,000 scholarships, unencumbered, random drawing. All they have to do is fill out the application form, and the drawing will be the last day of February as a very, very small way of helping folks on their journey. And they can find that information in social media or on Buzzsprout or on our website. And most of the education programs have been sharing the word. So we're very, very glad to be able to do that. So, well, Leah, thank you so much
Thank you.
again
Thank
for
you.
all your sharing, but all your years of just caring, man. You just that same torch is lit. I can see it. I can see it.
Right,
Uh,
right. Yes.
Denise, what are we going to do on our next podcast?
On our next podcast, we're going to be talking with Emily Portis. She is a midwife who took some time off from practice and came back. And we're going to talk with her just kind of some of the challenges, barriers, and ways to be successful to come back into clinical practice when you need to step out for a while for family reasons, to take care of children, and really how to navigate getting back into the clinical setting.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to talking with her.
Sustaining our workforce, it's absolutely critical. And there's so many different variables to that question. How do we sustain the workforce? Well, we are going to sign off for now, and thank you all for listening and following us and sharing our new Possibilist Midwife podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Buzzsprout, and the YouTube channel. Yeah. So, Jualeah, Denise, see you later.
See you later, Ginger Jualeah.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.